Hello YouTube, I Fix It All here, Team I Fix It All. Raised garden beds out of pallets. What we got is pallets that are cut at the cut sideways, so you have 2 foot high. They're about, on average, about 25 foot long each. And I'm just doing a video here to show how I handled this. Got them set up on rocks, pulled straight, screwed together, and the intent here is to get all of them up on rocks to lengthen the lifespan. I may spray the exterior with something that is probably not so environmentally great, but something to protect the wood. I want them to last for a while, and hopefully 10 years. To keep the walls from coming out, on that tree right there is a spool of wire. They call it 11 gauge soft steel galvanized coated fence repair wire. And I'm going to be tying about every 4 or so feet. I'll be going across the bottoms, tying the bottoms together all the way down. In my potato bed, which is hay, the Ruth Stout method, I've got a couple of round bales sitting up there. The next step for this particular bed is inside that V-bottom boat is a whole bunch of feed sacks. You can see them all in there, a bunch of white bags sticking up. We'll staple the bags to the top inside edge of all the pallets all the way around. Let them hang down, and then the excess bag will go under onto the ground. That would be the next thing to do on this box. Then I would add my support wires across, hopefully targeting the middle of the pallet, not where they're doubled, but the single. That way I can drill into the 2x that's in that pallet, bring that wire in, pigtail it around, hook it around a screw, go across, and wash, rinse, and repeat, poking through the bag. This way, all the fill that goes in here, those feed sacks, which aren't going to biodegrade, are going to keep this wood and its exposure to moisture and actual contact with dirt to an extreme minimum. All right, so now that we have support wires in the bottom, I'll take those round bales and I will put about 12 inches of hay in here, all the way down on top of that wire. Then the next step is to remove this end cap, get a few tomato stakes drove in the ground like I've got already showing, to keep these walls up, because when I remove this end cap, I'm going to be coming in with about, well, I'll come in with about 10 or 12 inches of, probably 12 inches or more of sawdust or wood chips on top of the hay. And then I will wheelbarrow in topsoil and mixed in with the dairy cattle bedding and manure mix that I have right there. And once that's complete, I can reinstall the end cap, wash, rinse, and repeat for all. So there's 6 beds here, but actually 2 beds is one system, because I'll have a what they call cattle fencing arch. Cattle fencing arch, they're 16 foot long and 50 inches wide. So I need several of those panels. This will be my walkway. This walkway will be covered in hay. And what happens is, this is one system, these 2 beds, that that fencing archway that is physically attached to these pallets here, which is going to come and be affixed on the interior. It goes up, over, and around to the interior of this pallet. I've struggled with whether or not I put it on the walkway side or not, but if I need to do physical wood repairs to anything that happens to have a malfunction, I don't want that fencing to be in my way. So I'm going to work a little harder to make sure the fencing goes on the inside where the dirt is, over top of the sacks. Either way it plays out, we're going to have a metal archway, because when you walk up to this bed, you plant your climbers closest to the fencing. Your squashes, your peas, and whatever climbs, sweet potatoes. And they will climb up the arch. These guys here, the items that are climbers, will be along this side of the bed and climb up. And then you can walk inside your archway, and your zucchini and cucumber and your peas and so on and so forth will be hanging for you to pick on the inside of the archway. And then the other veggies that don't climb, your peppers or whatever, you name it, whatever you want to plant, just kind of do a hierarchy. The taller stuff will be closer to the fencing arch, the climbers and the taller things, and then the shorter guys will be over here. So that's the long game. Right now I'm at a point where I'm shimming up the beds and getting them up on rocks and keeping the pallets from touching the earth. Continuing on, this is a pretty large project, but there'll be 3 systems. There's one system, and there's 2 systems, and then there's 3. Have a great day. So now that all 6 systems are shimmed off the ground with rocks all the way down each side, with random stuff, bricks and rocks, you've created somewhat of a, whatever your terrain is, but we have a slight step pattern where it goes steps up, and all of the lines, the high edge, they all seem sort of, well, I don't want to say I'm trying to get anything level. All I'm saying is that I'm holding my phone as level as can be. If you look down the end, not too bad for the distance. If you look at that front pallet line and compare it to the back pallet line, you end up with good enough. You just add your rocks along the bottom. You can imagine how that goes. Just add your rocks, get it off the ground, and now we're going to move on to the phase adding feed sacks to the interior and stapling them all the way around the entire perimeter of each bed. And there is literally a whole boatload of feed sacks over there. It's probably like 800. After the feed sacks go in, then I'm going to use my 11 gauge galvanized tie wire to go as low as I can on there to the other side, real low. I'm going to do this, let's say I'm going to go from there to here, and I'll skip over and go from here to here real low. And I'm just going to put my tie wire drill through here, string it through the sack on the other side, drill a hole in that 2x4 vertical one, and put a screw and wrap the wire around it. And over here is the wire. They call this 11 gauge galvanized smooth wire, general purpose fence repair wire. It's 200-foot roll for 18 bucks. And now we're moving on. Okay, and here we are with the interior of the first bed lined with the feed sacks that I was talking about. Stapled down 3 sides. And I have my support wire installed. .11 gauge. I had to skip over one support because of a stump. So what that's going to allow me to do next is remove this end cap piece, and then I'll start using hay from that round bale, and I will get that piled up to about 12 inches high of hay. That hay will true up to the feed sacks, and then I will wheelbarrow over some of the mulch right there and truck it in. And I guess my thought process now is I need to dump early to build up a good pile so that I'm not rolling over those wires and disturbing the width I have on my walls of my pallets. So I'll dump early, get about a few inches high, continue dumping until the wheelbarrow can roll in without having any conflict with that wire. The wire's only like that far off the ground, and I'll do that full length, and then pretty soon I'll just be able to wheel all the way back and get about 12 inches or more of mulch. By that time it's going to be weighing down the hay and compacting. Now for the wire, I tried the first run. I tried doing like this. I drilled 2 holes. Where actually I came underneath this this board right here, drilled a hole sideways into this upright 2x4, and then here I came through and I pigtailed it and nailed it into the side. Thought that was a real secure connection. Both of these sides together took me like 20 minutes. Did the same for the second one right there, and I punched through the sack to hit that vertical upright, and that's where I called it quits on that. It was taking too long. I changed up my game here. I've poked through the sack right here, came underneath this vertical member, and pigtailed and drywall screwed. Did the same on the other side. So right there, nothing there. I did one there, nothing there. I did one there, nothing there. So once this whole bed is full of mulch, then it will be time to wheelbarrow in dirt in the same opening, and I'll be able to wheelbarrow dirt in. Once the wheelbarrow, this is full, then I'll be able to come over here and get some dairy cattle bedding material, which they've pooed in, and I will put that on as my top layer, and then I'll just, by that time life will be good, this big project will be over, we can till that all, or we can just mix it all in, you know, with a shovel. So everything that happens to this needs to happen 5 more times. So that's for the filling part, but for the fun part, next we can add our cattle fencing arch that will go over and to the inside of this one. It'll go over and to here, and that'll happen several times, probably 5 or 6 panels all the way down. So that means that the fencing will be on the dirt side. That means all the climbers can have fun climbing. And the way we're oriented, my sun comes up that way, and then it's low, and well, west is that way, east is that way. So our sunlight is hitting all of this area. It's a good growing area, it's already proven. I'm not just going to be tearing this out and crying about it in a couple of years because I don't like the way the things grew. No, I know things will grow here. My only problem here is that last bend right there took my corn spot. Corn does real good right there. So there's 3 systems. There's 2 planting bays with the cattle fencing, a 3-foot walkway. That's a system. 2-foot spacer, because you'll walk down here to pick your veggies. This is another system with cattle fencing arch. And then the walkway didn't work out so great here to be 2 foot because there's a stump down there, so we compensated. And then this is a third system with the cattle fencing arch. Everything's looking up so far. We've got everything up on rocks. We're lining the interior of this. My objective now is to get this system up and ready, since we're 3rd week of March right now, so that she can start planting. When this is full of topsoil and manure, because we've got the hay, then we've got the mulch wood chip material, which is going to promote the hougleculture concept. We'll have a bunch of hay, a bunch of mulch, and then the last 8 or 9 or 10 inches is going to be topsoil and manure mix. Once that's all done, I have to put this end cap back on, and then everywhere there is a support wire on the bottom, I need to cross over from here straight across over to there with another support wire. This will keep the box from spreading out. So it's going to have wall supports by using that 11 gauge wire. I got to figure out something for this one. Down low, I have a support wire, and then a stump, and then another support wire. Everything's supported all the way down the way I want it, except for that one area. I may have to figure something out. I'll just add a wire a little higher up in the air, I guess, to go over that stump. All right, we're moving right along. See ya.